Hey everybody, Mark Agnesi here again in the back room of Norman's Rare Guitars, and welcome back to another episode of Guitar of the Day.
Woo!
What do you think on the Dan Armstrong?
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. That one actually sold. We got the video went up late last night. I think I closed that sale about 4 minutes before the video actually went up live, just based on the Instagram picture alone.
Ooh.
It's pretty good. That's a new record. Before the video goes up, after filming, pretty good record. So yeah, batting 1,000 this week. TV Junior from Tuesday's gone. Dan Armstrong Plexi from Wednesday's gone. I gotta tell you, it was nice to have Weird Ass Wednesday back, but I kind of missing the ES thing for the week. Made me sad. Sadder to miss that than a bass, sorry. And we still haven't bought any basses. I don't have any basses, guys. I don't have anything new to show you. I'm sorry. So I picked a bunch of really stupid hard songs to play today, and we're gonna do a cool ES guitar. Or CES guitar. Whatever. It's better than a bass. Come on back. This is from 1955. This is an original Gibson Byrdland. Original Sunburst finish with a pair of Alnico V Staple pickups.
Ooh.
Ebony board, big old block inlays.
So big. Look at that.
Yeah, that's a really cool guitar. Look at those pickups, I know you're asking. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Also, check out the truss rod cover. The engraved truss rod cover.
Hold on, let me get it in there.
Just like the one that Bonamassa had on Amos, and they're putting on those Epiphone Joey B Flying Vs.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
they did
cool.
that. You could order these. You could have them engraved with all sorts of stuff. No one actually put a name on this one. Usually, in those little spaces there, the guy have take it to the machine shop in town or whatever. Have somebody etch their name in there.
Well, if somebody buys it, they could put their name on it.
It's already there waiting for you. Take it to what's that place in the mall? Things to
remember.
or some shit where they sell keychains with your mom's picture on them and stuff. This is Gibson Byrdland. Now we did a Byrdland not that long ago, but I did all Ted Nugent songs and pissed a lot of people off. Pissed me off too. I had to apologize to myself for that one. So I figured we would do another Byrdland, but this is early. This is right when these guitars came out. So we talked about it in the other video, but some of you guys don't watch this every day, which is ridiculous.
Yes.
So you missed class that day. We'll talk about it again just for you guys. The Byrdland was a take off of the Gibson very wildly popular jazz guitar, the L5. There was two players of the day, a guy named Billy Bird and another guy by the name of Hank Garland, thus the name Byrdland, that helped design this guitar. And what they wanted to do was, for starters, they wanted to make a thinner body, something that was a little bit more sleek and thin line, as opposed to the big bulky jazz guitar. So this guitar was built as like a thin line version, not as thin as a 335. It's got a little bit more than that. It's about 2.5. I'm not going to get into numbers. That's when I get myself in trouble. It's bigger than a 335. So that was one of the features on this. One of the other things was the scale length that they wanted to play with. So we talk about scale length a lot. Nut to saddle, basically. The distance that the string goes in the playable zone. And I know some of you hipsters with your jazz masters think, oh, this is a playable zone too, isn't it?
Michael Lemo?
Lemo. Put 15 delay pedals on and just do that. The playable zone, from nut to saddle, right? Usually, typically on Gibsons, it's 24 3/4, although there are some 25.5-inch scale Gibson models. Fender always is 25.5. These Byrdland guitars are 23.5. So they're, a full 1.25 inches shorter in length than your typical Gibson scale length, which does a few things. Now, both of these guys were jazz guys, so, hitting some of those weird-ass jazz chords that have the big stretches, having a little bit of a shorter scale length on the neck kind of makes the distance, relatively a little bit smaller, so you can get some of those wider chord variants, that those guys wanted to play easier than you could get it on a big scale guitar, because there's, everything's just spaced out a little bit more based on the math. So that's one of the features, and because of that, scale length, everything kind of gets pushed up into the front of the guitar. You'll notice the distance between the pickups is kind of tiny. Seems weird. That's because everything's kind of pushed together. Because this bridge has to be pushed up forward, everything gets kind of pushed up forward. The other thing you'll notice, look at the neck itself. Notice how it doesn't taper. It's kind of the same width all the way down. Normally you have your nut width, and by the time you get down to your bottom frets on the guitar, you have a little bit more real estate down there in terms of fretboard. These have no taper on them, same width. And then that was one of the other things, is they wanted a little bit more narrow at the nut. So typical Gibson nut width would be 1 11/16. We talk about this a lot. Once you get 65 and beyond, it goes down to 1 9/16. Stock nut width on these is 1 5/8, which is kind of right in between. 1/16 of an inch narrower than the wide nut, and 1/16 of an inch wider than the narrow nut, right in the middle, which means it's 1 5/8 all the way up the neck. But construction on these is just like the L5s. This is a solid spruce top, solid, carved. So all of this arch and these beautiful, sexy little curves in this were all chiseled in by hand. This is not like the ES guitars, and that's one of the big difference between the ES and L guitars. The ES guitars are press tops. Those are laminates, bunch of layers, and they get pressed into that arch and shape because they're laminates. These are carved. Then we also have the solid maple back and sides. We have a 2-piece maple neck, and then of course we have ebony fingerboard on these with the rest of it's kind of all the Les Paul custom features. We have the gold parts, we have the multiply black, white, binding going around it, ebony board with the big pearl dots. So these have the torch and flower pot headstock inlay, as opposed to the diamonds you would normally see on the customs. Factory tuners for that era. Very cool as well. Now, the earliest ones of these were going to have these pickups. Now, we got to talk about the pickups. What are Alnico V Staple pickups? First off, what does Alnico mean? Jen?
Your son, Nico?
Al. No.
No.
No. Alnico is abbreviations for aluminum, nickel, and cobalt. Alnico, if you're on that periodic table of elements thing. So that's what these magnets are made out of. They're aluminum, nickel, and cobalt. Alnico 5 is not uncommon for pickups. They use Alnico 5 magnets in a lot of other pickups. What they wanted to do, a typical Gibson pickup, like these are kind of based on like a dog ear P90. On the regular Gibson pickups, the magnets down here inside of the cover, you normally see the heads of screws poking out. Now those screws get magnetized, but the actual pole pieces are down in, those screws are not the magnets are below. On these, what we call them the staple pickups, they kind of look like staples, the clever name. These are the actual magnets themselves. So what these end up giving you is a little bit more bark, a little bit more bite and top end, and they have a little bit more volume and clarity to the player's ear. They technically are not more volume or output than a regular P90 would be, but they tend to sound that way. They're really punchy. They sound really cool. Normally, you'll only see this pickup in like the first version Les Paul Customs. We'll normally have one P90 down here in the bridge, and I'll have an Alnico V Staple in the neck. On the arch tops, just for this brief period of time, like 54, 55, 56, up into 57, right when the PAFs came out, you will see in the Byrdlands, the L5s, and the Super 400s, all the Big Daddy jazz guitars, the double Alnico 5, which is rad because you never really ever see an Alnico 5 bridge pickup on a solid body. They only did them in the customs, and they only did them in the neck. Cool. But they're cool pickups. They hardly exist. They've got a really cool, unique tone about them as well. Those damn jazzers, they tend to like them. We don't take kindly to jazzers. Well, we did the jazz stuff last week, and that was pretty terrible, but I did nothing but Ted Nugent the last time we had a Byrdland, so I feel like I gotta at least get some Hank Garland in there, and I'm gonna do 3 songs I probably shouldn't be doing. I'm gonna do them all in a row. Let's go up to the couch, because this might take more than one take.
Oh no.
I'm gonna be honest with you, this might take more than one take. Let's go get this a head start on this. All right, we're out front. We have the 1955 Gibson Byrdland, 2 Alnico V Staple pickups, original Sunburst finish. We are going through 410 Hot Rod DeVille today, all EQs at noon. Just a little bit of reverb. I don't know why I do this to myself. Let's start on the neck Alnico V Staple pickup, all by itself. Let's see what we got. Moving on, middle position, those 2 staple pickups together. Sorry, Hank. Done with that. All right, down to that bridge. Alnico V Staple pickup, wide F and open, all by itself. Dude, seriously, that was the first take.
That's pretty good.
It's probably as good as it's gonna get. I'm not gonna even lie. This is from 1955. Original Gibson Byrdland. 2 Alnico V Staple pickups. Original Sunburst finish. Carved spruce top. Maple back and sides, maple neck. Ebony fingerboard. All sorts of cool bindings and inlays. Oh, it's also in Norm's book as well. There's one of these, and there's a black one on, I think it's on page 137. If you got the book, this is the one in the book. So that's always cool too. And it's way cooler than a bass. I'm sorry, guys. It just is. There's your guitar of the day for Thursday. Follow me on Instagram at Mark Agnesi. Follow the store at Norman's Rare Guitars. And check this and the rest of these guitars out online at normansrareguitars.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was first take Agnesi.
I'm telling you, it's first take right there. Yeah.
Woo!
I know. Grammy award-winning performances. Oh, I love the Yaz music. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow for another episode of Guitar of the Day. Have a fantastic night. We'll see you then. Peace.
Bye.
Yes.